Welcome to our video series, Data Act Unlocked. In this series, we provide a concise overview of the most important provisions of the EU Data Act. In this episode, we provide an overview of the EU Data Act content and its 4 pillars. Additionally, we explain the scope of the EU Data Act, meaning how and on whom the EU Data Act will have an impact. Let's take a look at the content of the Data Act. This new data legal code covers 4 pillars. The first pillar regulates the sharing of IoT data in B2C and B2B sectors. Manufacturers of IoT devices will be obliged to make the data generated by the devices available to the users of their products or to third parties. The new rights of the user pose complex challenges for the protection of trade secrets and data protection, which manufacturers must address. The second pillar of the Data Act concerns contract law. Contracts that govern access to and use of data are subject to the Data Act. Unfair terms are prohibited in such data contracts. They will not be binding. The prerequisite for this is that the terms are imposed unilaterally, meaning they are general terms and conditions. However, individual agreements on data remain possible. The third pillar of the Data Act deals with cloud service providers and is intended in particular to make switching between cloud services easier. Cloud service providers will have to revise their contracts and make technical adjustments to comply with the new rules. Finally, the Data Act contains provisions for public access to data. In particular, in emergency situations, public authorities can access data held by companies under the Data Act. Companies are obliged to share and cooperate. The EU Data Act is already in force. Most of the provisions will apply from the 12th of September 2025. Therefore, companies should use the time now to prepare for the changes. It is important to note that the Data Act follows the so-called marketplace principle. This means that it must be observed by all companies that operate in the European Union. This also applies if the company is based abroad. To wrap up, here are the key takeaways from this episode of our new series, Data Act Unlocked. The Data Act is a wide-ranging new data law. It affects manufacturers of IoT devices, cloud service providers, and anyone who enters into data contracts. Companies should immediately assess how they are affected by the EU Data Act. Establishing compliance will often require an interdisciplinary project. The Data Act can also create new business opportunities. Besides the compliance challenges, it also offers a wide range of opportunities that should be seized. We're glad to have you following our series Data Act Unlocked. For more insights, check out #CMS Data Law or visit our website.